Hi, Eugene here again, and welcome to my video log about my experiences leading up to and during delivering a course online for the first time. Last night I had a sample class, which was my first ever sample class online. It followed an information session for students coming on to our higher diploma in data analytics, which is being run online for the first time starting in September. So we had an open evening effectively online. Normally we would do this here in the college, but open evening online was very interesting. Again, my first time doing that. In the first half, there were lots of questions. I ran through the program module by module. There weren't that many questions from the group about the individual modules, more about assessment and proportion of continuous assessment versus exams. Really typical questions that we had great questions for students, and hopefully our answers put them at ease. I had two colleagues online as well to answer questions about things like fees and work placement and applications and so on. The second part then was my sample class, and I had chosen, I will be teaching programming on this new online program, but I normally teach the statistics model on the same program during face-to-face classroom sessions. So I'm moving to programming, or programming in particular, for this. But I decided I would stick to something I knew for the first class, and I gave a taster class on probability. So what worked well in that? Well, Adobe Connect worked really well. I feel much more comfortable in it thanks to training by my colleague Emer. Things like Google Sheets, which I used to allow the students, shared it with the students and allowed them to enter data onto a Google Sheet so they could see this happening live. And then once they'd all finished adding in their data, I did some simple calculations with their data, and that seemed to work quite well. I also used a poll, kind of a quiz, a multiple choice type question, which worked well as well, though students did start to change their minds once a majority response started to show up. Loads of students changed their minds and voted for the majority. Interaction was quite good when I asked students to, give me a agree sign or a tick to say that they were hearing me or seeing me, or that they were okay with the progress so far. So that worked very well. And finally, at the end, as we were closing, lots of positive comments, largely positive feedback I was getting. So I was pleased with that. Probably didn't work for everybody, but the whole idea was to give prospective students an idea of what a new online program or course might look like, bearing in mind that a lot of people will not have taken online courses before, so it's a new experience and they needed to be comfortable with that. And we would be hoping here in the college that many people who were online last night will sign up for the course. There were a few things that didn't go so well. First off was audio. The audio quality was poor. I was using my own headset for that here, and that just didn't work well when it was far away from me. So I had to put it on and speak normally into it like this. Probably a little bit of an improvement in the audio here. So that was the first technical problem to deal with. Also, I had difficulty with video throughout. I had my video camera in a small window on the student screen, and it was frozen for most of the first part of the session, which, by the way, lasted from 6 until 8, and that was a long time. There were times during this that I found that the commentary was, it was difficult for me to keep it up. I sometimes wonder how football and hurling and soccer commentators can keep talking right throughout the program. It must be difficult to have stuff ready at all stages. And there were times when I stopped or paused, and there were probably a few awkward silences from me in there as I was searching around for stuff, moving windows, starting up something new. And I also found awkward as well when I would ask, are there any questions, pop them into the chat box that was there. And several occasions, there were some questions, but on several occasions there were no questions, and I found the waiting to be awkward, and I was repeating myself and saying, don't forget, if you don't want to put in a question now, you can put it in later, doing things like that to fill up the time. So I need to get better at that. So overall, for me, positive experience, can do better, and hopefully will do better, and then the real thing when it comes in just 3 weeks time. So stay tuned for the next installment. I have one more training session to go before a kickoff date on the 17th of September, so I will be commenting about that in due course. Thank you. Oops.